Jackie Robinson that everybody in baseball has retired. And now, as of today, in a matter of moments, Sparky Anderson's number 11. We'll bring it all to you live. Hey, see the Tigers take on the Toronto Blue Jays tomorrow in a makeup game with a special start time of 6:05 for ticket next. Classy move by Jim Leyland to include praise for Alan Trammell for all the groundwork he had done in creating the team that would win the American League Championship. Tram and Kirk Gibson will be the first to tell you that they're probably still not in baseball had they not had the chance to play for and learn from Sparky Anderson. Gibby these days with Sparky's managerial voice in his head. And with more on that story inside the ballpark we go. Trevor Thompson checks in. T.
Keats, thank you very much. And who will forget? Bless you, boys. This is the year, and the year was 1984. And the Tigers got off to a magical start and rode that start all the way to a World Series championship. That was the year that Kirk Gibson first etched his name in Tiger lore and really in baseball lore with his heroics during that year's World Series. Now he's the manager of the Diamondbacks, and 27 years later, he looks back on Sparky's philosophies and how his former manager handled that team during that title run.
Sparky was just a master at the game, at the psyche of people. He pushed the right buttons. And the one thing he did say is when we started off 35-5 that year, he kept us going. We won, I think, 17 or 18 in a row on the road. And what he did say was the grind was during the season. When you get to the playoffs, it becomes fun. And when you get to the series, that's the easiest part of it all. That was just fun.
It was fun then, and looking back now, Gibby says that although Sparky has passed on, his spirit lives within Gibby each and every day as he manages the Diamondbacks and also goes about life with the lessons that Sparky imparted on him during their time together. John, back to you.
Trev, thanks. Day of mixed emotions, certainly for Kirk Gibson. He told me this morning that his wife's sister-in-law, their sister-in-law, Lori, passed away after a long battle with cancer. So Gibby will be managing through some grief as he celebrates Sparky Anderson's day. And so our thoughts and prayers are with the Gibson and the Sklarski family as they endure a rather tough day after Lori passed away. All right, those in attendance and those of you at home get a double dose of Tigerdom today. The Sparky ceremony harkens us to the past, and then the present follows. We'll take a look at the lineups for today's game, and there is a tweak. The Tigers Live continues downtown Detroit in just a matter of moments. Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you in part by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. A card from the Blues. It's one amazing little card. And by the extraordinary people of the U of M health system. That's the Michigan difference. Including Gibby and Tram, a dozen of Sparky Anderson's former players will be in the ballpark for the ceremony upcoming, which will retire his number for all time. Dan Petrie and Darrell Evans and Mike Henneman and Larry Herndon and Dave Roseman and Dave Bergman and Milt Wilcox among those gathering on the field. Another handful of his closest confidants here as well. All of that just moments away. The current Tigers are trying to make sure that the Sparky ceremony is only one of the high points in the day for all Tiger fans. There is a game, of course, which will follow the series wrap-up against the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Tigers will line up this way in Game 3 of 3. They're trying to win the series and make it 3 wins in 4 games with this group. Casper Wells is getting a start in right. He will hit second with Mags as the DH. Victor Martinez will catch today. Brandon Inge will bat 8th. He's 1 for 8 since his return from mono, the DL, and a stay with the Toledo Mud Hens.
I definitely needed it. I would probably say in the beginning I was hopeful that I wasn't gonna have to go down there and play, but I'm glad I did now because my timing was way off, my strength was down, and even in that small span of when I was down there, I was able to gain a lot of my timing back, my strength came back, endurance came back, and then I feel better now than I did, I think, most of the first half. So I'm glad I went down there. I think it was very beneficial.
If that group combines in any fashion to find the seats 3 times today, you're a winner thanks to Arby's. In that instance, bring a copy of the box score to any Arby's tomorrow, and you'll receive a free small order of curly fries. Keep this in mind if the game is close late. Kirk Gibson's D-backs are 17-9 in 1-run games. They will line up like this. Willie Bloomquist and Stephen Drew will hit just ahead of Justin Upton, who is batting nearly 500 in his last dozen games. And here's an update. Willie Mo Pena's homer on Friday has finally stopped rolling. More than 450 feet away from home plate, Willie Mo will be the D-backs DH today. We're moments away from the ceremony honoring Sparky Anderson, and among those who would love to be here, as a guy with a sense of history and great drama, is Baseball Hall of Fame announcer Vin Scully. We had a chance to visit with the great Scully in Los Angeles just a couple of days ago. Scully and Sparky were broadcast partners in World Series type events for a number of years back on CBS radio. Their influences on each other went in both directions. On the occasion when Vin would visit Sparky at Tiger Stadium,
we'd be sitting in a little radio booth doing the World Series, and Sparky and I would be shoulder to shoulder, and she'd be sitting behind us reading a book. And Sparky would smoke one cigarette after the other, and I had given up smoking a long, long time ago. And she would say, "Sparky, you can't do that. Stop it. Give it up." Well, a couple of years went by, and he became the manager of the Detroit Tigers. Came to Detroit to do a game and walked into the clubhouse. And I heard this voice, "Vinny, Vinny," and I looked over, and there was Sparky in the manager's office waving to me, "Come over, come over." And then he said, "How's your wife?" I said, "She's fine." And he winked, and he reached down and pulled the drawer, the desk drawer out, and came up with a pipe. And he put the pipe in his mouth, no tobacco in it, and he said, "Tell Sandy I followed her advice."
As tribute, we'll put it like this: if you don't like Sparky Anderson, you don't like ice cream. A version of one of his favorite sayings. When we come back, Detroit remembers Sparky, and the Tigers say thanks.
Tigers fans turn to Tigers Weekly, Fridays on Fox Sports Detroit.
You're watching Tigers Live pregame show on Fox Sports Detroit. It's the only show I watch for all the latest news and exclusive insight on our Detroit Tigers.
Sparky Anderson spent 17 years here as the manager of the Detroit Tigers, and as all Tiger fans know well, that he won a world championship in 1984. He passed away in early November, but he's looking down, as he always did, with that pipe, just sort of smiling and shaking his head about what's to unfold. His number 11 is about to be retired here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this historic day in Detroit Tigers history. Today, we will be retiring just the 7th uniform number in the 111-year history of your Detroit Tigers, in celebration of the Hall of Fame career of manager Sparky Anderson. Sparky's number 11, which hasn't been worn on the playing field since Sparky's retirement in 1995, will join Al Kaline's number 6, Charlie Gehringer's number 2, Hank Greenberg's number 5, Hal Newhouser's number 16, and Willie Horton's number 23 on the brick facade here at Comerica Park. It will reside next to Jackie Robinson's number 42, which was retired throughout baseball on April 15th, 1997. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's our pleasure to introduce the master of ceremonies for today's event, Detroit Tigers radio play-by-play announcer in his 9th season in that role. Let's all welcome Dan Dickerson.
Thank you, Bob, and good afternoon, everyone. Today we're here to celebrate the life and legacy of a very special man. 2.5 months ago on opening day, Friday, April the 8th, we raised a flag in memory of one of the greatest Tigers managers of all time. Detroit Tigers players and coaches have also been wearing a patch to commemorate his life on their right sleeve throughout spring training and the regular season. The number 11 holds a special place in the hearts of Tigers fans. As a player, Bill Freehan wore number 11 for each one of his 11 All-Star seasons. And as manager, Sparky Anderson proudly wore number 11 for 17 seasons. And today, we will forever retire Sparky's number 11. And isn't it fitting that we're doing this on a weekend with the Arizona Diamondbacks in town, now led by two of Sparky Anderson's greatest players, Kirk Gibson and Alan Trammell. And now I'm proud to introduce to you the friends and family members of Sparky who have joined us on this historic day. First, please welcome the following members of Sparky's family, seated here to my right, who have joined us from their homes in California. Sparky's son, Lee Anderson, and his wife, Nancy, and Sparky's grandson, George Anderson. Sparky's daughters, Shirley Engelbrecht and her husband, Jan. Sparky's son, Albert Anderson, his wife, Sarah, and their son, Todd. And Sparky's nephew, Dan Polizotto. It is also important today to recognize Sparky's wife, Carol. Even though she is unable to join us here today, she is a wonderfully caring and strong person, and our thoughts are with her today as well. Also, please welcome longtime former Tigers Media Relations Director, Sparky's best friend and family spokesman, Dan Ewald. Also joining us on the field today, he was the voice of our Summers with Ernie for so many years, from 1973 to 1991, a truly great broadcaster, Paul Carey. Detroit Tigers clubhouse manager for the last 34 seasons, Jim Schmeichel. From the National Baseball Hall of Famer in Cooperstown, New York, in his 37 years in baseball, they included 18 years as an executive with the Detroit Tigers. Please welcome the Senior Vice President of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, Bill Hasse. The formation of Catch, the charity for children, was in Sparky's own words his greatest gift. Here to represent this very important part of Sparky's life, please welcome Jim Berline, Catch Chairman, and Jim Hughes, the Executive Director of Catch. A front office executive for 50 years, he retired from the Detroit Tigers as manager of promotions in 1991. Please welcome Lou Matlin. And he served as trainer at the major league level from 1980 through 1994. Please welcome Pio DeSalvo. And now, seated to my left, in his 19th season as a Detroit Tigers owner, there is no one more committed to winning with his sports teams. No one more committed to winning in baseball than this man, Mr. Mike Ilitch. In his 33rd year in professional baseball, now in his 10th season with the Detroit Tigers, Tigers President, CEO, and General Manager Dave Dombrowski. "22 seasons in the major leagues, 3,007 hits, 399 home runs, 10 Gold Gloves. More than anything, this guy played the game the right way. Your Hall of Famer, number 6, Al Kaline." He hit legendary home runs as a high schooler at Tiger Stadium, and then launched a few more when he joined the Detroit Tigers, 325 in his career. Your hometown hero, number 23, Willie Horton. A member of the '68 World Champion Tigers, my broadcast partner, Mr. Jim Price. He was also a member of the '68 championship teams, had one of the greatest seasons ever for a pinch hitter in the era of the pitcher. He also served as Sparky Anderson's hitting coach, including on that '84 championship team. The Gator, Gates Brown. Known as Trixie, he played a valuable role on the '68 championship team. He was a Tigers coach for all 17 years of Sparky Anderson's tenure. Please welcome Dick Trzaskowski. One of the most durable pitchers on Sparky's staff in the 1980s. He won 19 games in '83, 18 more in 1984. Please welcome Dan Petrie. This guy was a Tigers closer right from the beginning of the end of his rookie season, 1987. Finished his career with 154 saves as a Tiger, a record that stood for a long time. Please welcome Mike Henneman. This was a big free agent signing before the '84 season. He played for Sparky Anderson for 5 years, provided some very memorable moments with his power. Please welcome Darrell Evans. He caught the final out of the 1984 World Series. He provided the only run in the 1-0 clinching game in 1987 over Toronto. He was also a coach with the Detroit Tigers. Please welcome Larry Herndon. He played 17 years at second base for Sparky Anderson, 19 years alongside Alan Trammell. You know him as Sweet Lou, Lou Whitaker. He broke in with the Tigers in 1979 and played 10 seasons for Sparky Anderson. Now the Tigers' first base coach, Tommy Brookins. Our next guest played for Sparky in 1984. He's now part of the best television team in baseball. From Fox Sports Detroit, Rod Allen. A key pickup before the '84 season, he had what Sparky Anderson called the greatest at-bat he'd ever seen in his life, the epic battle with Roy Lee Jackson that ended in a home run. Please welcome Dave Bergman. Among his many accomplishments, our next guest threw a 1-0 complete game to end the incredible race with Toronto in 1987, clinching the Eastern Division title. Please welcome Frank Tanana. This pitcher played for Sparky in both Cincinnati and here in Detroit. 17-game winner in the '84 championship season. Please welcome Milt Wilcox. And our next guest pitched for Sparky from 1979 to 1984. Please welcome Tigers pitcher Dave Rozema. Sparky Anderson had such an incredible influence on the lives of so many players and coaches. And before I introduce our two speakers today, I have a couple of quotes that I'd like to share with you that speak to the impact that he had on lives, his legacy, and his career. The first is from former Tigers pitcher Jack Morris from the 1984 reunion 2 years ago. Jack said, "It was a journey of a life experience. We came up as young kids in the minor leagues, out of high school and college. We had a dream, but didn't exactly know how to put that dream together. Sparky was the Bond who knew how to put it together. He taught us how to play the game and how to win, and we ultimately did that." And this quote from Sparky's longtime pitching coach, multiple World Series winner Roger Craig, and it speaks volumes about Sparky's true nature. He said, "From my perspective as one of his coaches, He was one of the best. He never missed anything during the game. Nobody could outmanage him. His players and his coaches loved him. But what I remember most about Sparky was 2 words: thank you. No matter whether he signed an autograph for a 5-year-old boy or an 80-year-old man or woman, when he gave the signature back, Sparky would say, thank you. He said thank you more than anybody I've ever been around. And I know now, with him and Ernie Harwell up there talking to God, this will be a better world. Thank you, Sparky, for making everybody you touched a better person. And now I'd like to introduce our first speaker of the day. He played for Sparky for a total of 11 seasons. He was the starting pitcher in the clinching game of the '84 World Series. Please welcome again, Dan Petrie.
Thank you, Dan. You know, I never get tired about talking about Sparky. That's why it's such a great honor to be here today in front of this distinguished group behind me. You know, I always compared playing for Sparky much like our relationships with our own fathers. You know, we always want our dad to be proud of us, whether it be bringing home an A or, hey, Dad, look, I can ride a 2-wheeler now. That's why I think I never wanted to pitch poorly, because in some odd way I felt like I was letting down my own dad. I was letting down Sparky. I remember Sparky saying how he never wanted to get too close to his players, because one day he would have to call you in, either trade you, possibly release you. And it wasn't that he was afraid what that would do to the player's psyche or didn't care about, you know, what would happen to the player, but he knew that a family was involved. He knew that a wife and children were going to be devastated, the end of a career, or possibly having to move a household. That's why I think so many of us got to be closer to Sparky after our playing days were done, as we really didn't get such a great chance to get close to him while we were playing. Sparky always would remind us that no matter how good you were, your playing days soon would be done. Sparky would always tell us to prepare for life after baseball, whether it be staying in the game or joining the business world. Sparky, I think, would be proud of the way we all turned out. Gibby, Tram, Darryl, Frank, Bergie, Rod, Milt, Brookie, Henny, Larry. And you know what? Yes, even you too, Rosie. I think, you know, Sparky would be happy with the way you turned out too. Sparky taught us to be humble and to treat people right. It is the most important life lesson that he taught me to this day. As Dan mentioned, or Roger Craig, Sparky would stop and sign autographs, and when handing the item back, he would always say thank you. And he would reply, no, thank you. And I used to ask him, why do you do that, Sparky? He said, because someday this is all going to end, and you're going to be begging for people to come up and ask you to sign their autograph. Because after a little bit of time, people are going to forget you. I don't think anybody's going to forget Sparky anytime soon. I'm going to miss getting my annual Christmas card from Sparky. It would always be the first one to arrive shortly after Thanksgiving. At Sparky's annual catch golf outing, I would meet Sparky and Dan Ewald for lunch. Dan, next month when we get together at Meadowbrook Country Club, I hope we can meet again at that same table and reminisce about our good friend. I will look for Sparky at his usual spot between the 9th green and the 10th tee, where Sparky would greet all the players participating in the outing. Sparky won't be there, but I'll still see him and hear him shout, "Daniel, my boy," and proceed to slap me in the face and knock me into next week. Well, maybe I won't miss that one so much. I will never forget Sparky, and with the retirement of his number, I hope you will never forget him also. Enjoy today's ball game, because I know Sparky will. Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce Dan Ewald, longtime former Tigers Media Relations Director, Sparky's best friend, and a family spokesman, for a few words on behalf of the entire Anderson family. Dan?
Thank you, Dan. And thank you, fans, for sharing this memorable day with the Anderson family. As Dan already mentioned, Carol can't be here today, but she is here in spirit. And you can bet Sparky is here in spirit, too. On behalf of Sparky and his family, I thank Mr. Mike Ilitch, Dave Dombrowski, and the entire Tiger organization for this tremendous tribute to Sparky. If he were here today, he would also thank all of his players, coaches, and those behind the scenes who contributed to his success. And that means especially to all of you fans. Sparky loved Detroit. He loved the city spirit. He said Detroiters never surrender. He'd want to give yourselves a big round of applause today. Besides all of his baseball records, Sparky left his mark on Detroit with the creation of Catch, his charity to help underprivileged children. Sparky simply loved the kids. Catch remains so close to his heart. He thanks everyone who helped to create the charity in 1987. People like Dr. Clarence Livengood, Bob Pilkowitz, John Giannopoulos, and so many more, too numerous to mention. A special thanks to Executive Director Jim Hughes, who leads the way for the charity to grow. Most of all, Sparky and his family wish to share this tremendous honor of having his uniform number retired with all the people of Detroit. I was blessed to have worked with Sparky for 32 years. That's why I can confidently tell you that number 11 belongs as much to all of you people as it does to him. Sparky, Carol, Lee, Shirley, and Albert, thank you so much. God bless you.
At this point, the Detroit Tigers would like to present 3 gifts to the Anderson family. First, the Tigers are pleased to announce that the Sparky flag, which was raised on opening day and is now flying on the flagpole in deep left center, will be presented to the Anderson family in a custom wood case after the end of the 2011 season. Now I'd like to ask Tigers President, CEO, General Manager Dave Dombrowski to help in the unveiling of the second gift. This framed portrait features all members of the '84 World Championship team who were here during the 25th celebration 2 years ago. The celebration was special for a lot of reasons, but you can see on the faces of the players it was Sparky's presence and the joy that he brought to the occasion that made it truly special. We hope that this photograph will forever remind his family of the joy that he brought to all of us during his time in Detroit. And finally, I'd like to request Detroit Tigers owner Michael Ilitch to help present our third gift. Framed Detroit Tigers jersey bearing Sparky's number 11, officially signifying the retirement of Sparky's number 11 today. And now, as we prepare to unveil Sparky's number 11 on the brick facade above section 101, please turn your attention to the video board in left field for this special video tribute to Sparky Anderson.
First, the manager, number 11, Sparky Anderson.
You can be whoever you want to be. You just have to want it bad enough.
I believe Detroit will be in the race. I'm not going to predict anything for them, but nobody better take us very lightly. We have a saying here, we don't know where we'll finish when we started, and nobody cares.
I don't care, you don't care, but the one thing we do care about is how we go about this. We will play the best we can play every night.
September comes, we'll be there. Now, there ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. When September lands, Detroit Tigers will be in a race, could be in a race.
Swings, and there's a fly ball to left. Here comes Herndon. He's there. He's got it. The Tigers are the champions of 1984.
Mr. President, I know that you were a great Cubs fan, but I know if you've seen these kids, you'd be a Tiger fan.
If you're 30 games out, you play the very best team you have available on the field. Because if one fan paid their way to get in, if there's only one fan that showed up, they paid their way to get in, they deserve to see your very best club, the best you've got. You have to live in Detroit, and I know what a lot of people say, but you got to live in Detroit to understand that's a great city.
And now may I direct your attention to the wall in right center field. Please welcome Sparky's grandchildren, George and Todd, as they remove the cover from the brick wall.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for attending today's historic Sparky Anderson's number 11 retirement ceremony. And as we conclude, please once again help me salute Sparky's family, friends, players, and colleagues who have joined us today on the field.
Very emotional, and one more chapter in a life well lived. You might find this interesting. Sparky Anderson didn't always wear number 11 with the Tigers. He wore number 10 with the Reds, but he didn't want the same number when he came to Detroit, and initially he wore number 7 here. But after a handful of days, he went to the equipment manager and said, this just doesn't feel right. He wore number 11 for 17 years. No one has worn it since he retired, and no one will ever again. Among the battles that Sparky liked best were some of those classic showdowns with the Toronto Blue Jays in the mid-1980s, and the Blue Jays are up next for the 2011 Tigers. We take a look ahead at the Tigers schedule. It's presented as always by Just for Men.
Idea, other than the fact that when I did show up to spring training with a week left in Lakeland, Florida, Darrell Evans and Larry Herndon, who were teammates of mine in San Francisco, both came to me and said, this is a special team. Have no idea, that we're going to, win the World Series or anything like that, but this is going to be a good ball club. And I had played against Tommy Brookins, Lance Parrish, Jack Morris in winter baseball in Puerto Rico, so I knew that they had some good players here, but I had no idea that we're going to get off to a 35-5.
Wasn't that fun?
It was fun. Wow. It was every day we'd show up and we would say, we don't know who's going to be the hero today, but somebody's going to be the hero. And the thing that was ironic about it, that was so true.
How about when we went out west? I think we had ran off, I don't know, maybe 16, 17 games on the road, in a row, something like that on the road. And the standing ovations that we were getting in cities like Los Angeles, Seattle, amazing.
Well, we got the standing ovations in Seattle because they kicked our butts 3 in a row.
They stopped it. They stopped it.
Yeah, they stopped it.
Miguel Montero leading it off here in the 5th inning for Arizona. It's 1-0 in favor of the Tigers here on a Peralta home run. There's a bouncing ball hit to the right side. A base hit out of the reach of Ryan Rayburn. And Montero has a leadoff single. You know, Bergie, Sparky used to say that a manager will have an effect on maybe just a handful of games throughout the course of the year. As you think back to his managerial skills, I mean, was it different for Sparky? How many games do you think he had an effect on in terms of maybe getting you some extra wins?
You're right by saying that Sparky used to call it 5.
5, right.
I can help you guys win 5. You guys got to take care of the rest. And I would go so far as to say that he had a hand in all of them.
Really?
And the reason I say that is because of the way he molded some of the personalities on that ball club.
This might be a double play. Rayburn to Peralta, and a 4-6-3.
When you can take somebody who has a quiet demeanor like an Alan Trammell and treat him a certain way, somebody like a Lou Whitaker who had a quiet demeanor and treat him a certain way, and then you have somebody like Kirk Gibson and Dave Roseman, some of the what we call character players.
Was Gibby a quiet demeanor?
Gibby was a very, very quiet demeanor.
Yeah, right.
You know, you could be in another state at times and hear what he. But as far as a teammate was concerned, I've been on record by saying there's not a better teammate that I played with. I call Jack Clark and Kirk Gibson 2 of the best teammates that I've ever played with.
Really?
They had what many would call the star ability. They were impact players, but they really cared about their teammates. And if Gibby felt that you weren't giving 100%, he'd let you know.
Yes, he would.
And Jack Clark was the same way. They did it in different ways, but the way they handled the situation was the results were still the same.
You have to be extremely proud of what Kurt has been able to accomplish as a very young manager in Arizona.
It doesn't surprise me because I've known Kurt both on and off the field since 1984. I recognized early on that he's a very, very intelligent man. The only thing that he was missing a part of his repertoire in being a good manager was the patient part. And he has learned that. I think I shared with you before. I've seen him coach little kids hockey, and I've seen him do some demonstrations at the Tiger Fantasy Camp, and some things popped up over there that, you know, maybe 15, 20 years ago he may have reacted a little bit differently, but he's definitely matured. And he couldn't have a better assistant than Alan Trammell to kind of keep him under control as well.
Well, Nady bounces out to end the inning. Dave, we really appreciate you stopping by. Thanks so much. Good luck the rest of the way. We'll see you at the ballpark.
Thank you.
Take care, buddy.
Good seeing you.
Dave Bergman played for Sparky Anderson on the day where Sparky's number 11 was retired.